Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome out to tonight's training webinar. My name is Ferre. I'm here with Swenson, and this is the weekly training that we do for members of TaxSaleSupport.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And tonight, as me and Shane were talking about, we decided that we wanted to go through and look at some online auctions, some upcoming opportunities, and really just kind of some of the advantages that are out there participating in tax sales online.
Yeah, in fact, we're getting to a time of the year where there are a lot of tax sales that are taking place, and so a lot of times you don't know about those unless somebody shows them to you, and we're overwhelmed by just the number of opportunities that are out there. And so we thought it might be a good time to go through and show you some of the different opportunities that we found just over the course here of a little bit in different locations across the country.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, really, there are so many opportunities that me and Shade run across that really it's impossible to take advantage of all the opportunities there are. You know, with over 3,000 different counties, 50 different states, there's auctions taking place every single month, really hundreds of different auctions usually, where there's going to be opportunities to participate either through online auctions, live auctions, but there really is just a lot of opportunity now to do your research and investing online.
Yeah, it seems like the more we look now, the more property we find that is available. And this can be in all different places. I mean, it seems like there's just no shortage of counties that use some form of a tax sale to kind of complete their property tax enforcement system. So tons and tons of opportunities, and counties are also wising up to the fact that the easier they can make it for investors to participate in, the better it really is for them, because it helps them sell more. And so we're starting to see, I think, improvements too in the quality of the information and in how easy the sales are to participate in.
Yeah, really, and there's a lot of different areas that that have opportunity, especially when it comes to tax deeds. You know, this part of the year, over the next 3 months, there's going to be a lot of different tax deed states that are going to be conducting auctions. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for people that are interested in actually buying real estate.
Yeah. So for starters, we're going to spend a good portion of this webinar just doing actual live trainings, and so we're going to make the webinar a little bit shorter because it makes the recordings the size huge. But we're going to switch over and take a look. And we're going to actually start off here with the student website. We're going to start off with tax sale support. Now, there are a couple different places here that we can go to look, but a normal place that you can check and you can start from if you're looking for sales that are coming up is to go to the auction calendar, which is here under the list center. So all the lists you're going to get will always be found underneath the list center here somewhere. But the auction calendar, you can move around here to check different dates, and you can see that for this is for July. For the month of August, we're really busy. You know, there are a lot of sales that are taking place, and you can click on these links to download lists, or in some cases to link directly to sites if you want. But this gives us a little bit of an idea of some of the sales that are taking place. So as a good place to begin, why don't we start off by looking into Michigan, which Michigan does their tax sales a little bit different from some of the other counties and states. I think it's the state that actually owns the website, it seems like, right? Tax sale?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if they actually own the website itself, but they definitely are using it as far as just for the tax sale. So I think it might be owned by a different company, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, well, yeah, pretty much what we found is that yeah, it is just specific to Michigan, and it's a pretty well done website. They've had it for a while. They've had it for longer than a lot of the other counties, I think, have been doing different things like this.
Yeah, in fact, this was, you know, participating in this tax sale info website was actually one of the first times that we purchased tax deeds through online. You know, it was probably almost a decade ago, maybe 7-8 years ago, we ended up purchasing property. You know, some of our first purchases online were actually using this website in some of the Michigan tax sales.
Yeah, in fact, it is a pretty handy website here. I might even be able to enlarge this a little bit. Okay, so the way they have this split up is by date, and if you wanted, you could look at it, and it would show the you know, kind of the calendar of when there are different auctions taking place. But you can see they start on the 29th of July, or the 31st of July, and they go until, I think it's the 8th of September, I think. Yeah, the 8th of September. So this is really the month for Michigan and for the sales that they'll be conducting. So now when you want to look at it, you can see where the county is that you're looking at here. We're looking at Kalamazoo, but you're going to click here basically to take a look at what the county has available. Now this is also a website where you, if you go to the site often, or if you're looking for stuff, you need to set up like basically a username and a password on the account and get it set up.
Yeah, and that's really something I'd probably recommend doing with any of these websites, and create kind of a little file that you keep all your username and passwords. But because it doesn't cost anything, it makes it a lot easier to go ahead and log in. So usually recommend setting up a username and password if you can.
Yeah. Now, for how these sites operate, there are a couple of nice things to take note of. The first is on the left here under auction sales book and under catalog spreadsheet. We've got two different things here. The auction sales book is a PDF download that we can click on that will give us an overview of how the auctions work in those areas, and then it will actually give us more of a traditional style tax sale list that we can see. And the catalog spreadsheet is more of an Excel style spreadsheet if you wanted to just see that information directly. Now those things will help to, I guess, help you speed through property quicker, but they've got a pretty good system in place too on the site for showing, you know, what types of properties you're interested in, and that is you can decide which properties you're interested in by type. So you can decide if you're looking for some type of a home, cottage. They're talking about a residential property typically here, or whether you're looking for commercial property or waterfront, acreage, commercial lots or vacant lots. And so if depending on what we're interested in here, we wanted, let's say we're looking at homes and cottages here, we can see the way they've got these properties listed here. And we probably have, what about 11 or 12 of them here? Now, something else that's nice about how these sales are conducted, in fact, you'll see there's a picture of her in different pictures, because I think she's one of the individuals that work for the state or the county, and they're essentially taking pictures of the properties and writing down descriptions of them, making basically preparations for the tax sale. And so the pictures are pretty up to date. You know, they're relatively new pictures, and it's a pretty good breakdown. I mean, it's actually really handy when you can read some of the notes from the individual that's been there, and they oftentimes will also have pictures of the property both inside and out, which is also a nice feature.
Yeah, you know, with both Michigan and New York does a little bit the same, which we'll be looking at a little bit later. They sometimes will have pictures of the inside. If the property is vacant, then they'll get inside and take pictures. If the property is currently occupied, a lot of times they'll have that information in part of the notes as well. And so, you know, they actually go out to each one of these sites, so you're looking at current photos. You're not looking at the Google Earth from 2 or 3 years ago. These photos were essentially taken for this auction.
Yeah, which is as nice as having somebody out there that's basically looking at properties for you, because you know, you can get a good idea of what the property is like and what the condition is like now. But what you'll see is that we've got a mix of homes here, and you can see about where the minimum bids are, ranging anywhere from about $2,500 and on up on some of these single-family homes. But some of these are really not bad. I mean, you can see, for instance, you're going to get logged in here. It kicks us out here.
You know, really, you're looking at single-family homes, which most of them are anywhere between $3,000 to $10,000. So, you know, I mean, we can check to see what the market value is. But when you're looking at buying a single-family home, a possible rental property, something that you could sell or finance or something like that. You know, when you're looking at these single-family homes, you can pick up between $5,000 to $10,000. You know, that's really a pretty nice area to start looking at with opening bid amounts.
Yeah. So this property here, we're looking at minimum bid starting out at $7,400, and their assessed value on it is about $56,000. Is what they're estimating there. They also, you'll see some of the images that they have, and they've got a lot of images on these properties to give you a pretty good idea of you know, what the condition's like. Yeah, and like Steve said, you know, we found that anytime there's somebody that's still there, we'll just get exterior pictures. If they can get in, then they'll take interior pictures as well. So you can see in this case, you've got interior pictures here, which interior pictures are nice because it gives you an idea of the overall condition of the property, what it might need, you know, basically what's going on, what the situation is. And you know, several of the properties are still full, kind of like, you know, like this one is still full of stuff. And so, you know, you'll see some of these, but overall, looking at this, I mean, the condition on it is excellent. You know, I think overall it may need some work here and there, but everything we're seeing is a house that was cared for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. You know, with all this type of stuff, there's a process that you'll go through with all their personal stuff where, you know, they'll have a chance to come get it, and if they don't, then essentially you can garbage it or sell it. But you know, in a case like this, you know, it looks like that there's quite a bit of stuff within the home as well.
Yeah, there's really a lot of stuff in this particular home. Now, also below the information that they provide here, along with the images, they also have the information split up like this, which I thought was kind of interesting. But they leave additional information, which is nice. So the comments are where you're going to get some really good information about the property and things, you know, things that the person making the notes noticed. And a lot of times there'll be things that will tell you overall condition of the property, maybe things that are wrong, things that are nice. And, you know, they're always handy, you know, these all of these notes. They also tell you things, for instance, utilities. It tells you, it's disconnected but metered right now. You know, you can see things like whether it uses a septic system, you know, where they get the water. Just a lot of handy information here to get if you're looking for it. Now, there are a ton of properties in all of these areas here, so we didn't want to take too long, I think, on any one specific set of properties, just because there's so much value, but we can dig into any of them at some point here if we want.
Yeah. I mean, overall, there's quite a lot of opportunity here in Michigan with all these different sales taking place, and you can see that in addition to the single-family homes, there's also going to be lots of land property, lots, different things like that that could be good investments as well.
Yeah, there are all different types of property, really, that you'll come across. So, yeah, in fact, if we were looking here, we wanted to take a look at it and see if there's any of the commercial buildings here that'll pop up. This will show us some of the commercial buildings they've got. And look and see if they've got any commercial land, some acreage, and the acreage here.
One of these, a pretty nice home.
Yeah, one of these is for this home, which is a minimum bid on is $26,000. The estimated value on it, the SEV. I wish I knew exactly what that SEV, something with value, but $65,000 basically. It's an assessed value. Although I'll bet the value of the property is probably higher than that, especially if it's sitting on some land. Yeah,
I'm sure that it is. A lot of these properties are all going to be valued quite a bit higher than the SEV. I mean, essentially, that's just the market value or the assessed value. So that's not necessarily going to mean what the property is going to sell for. And a lot of these are going to have good information. So you're going to have the address that you can go and search in Google Earth. You can search it on Zillow and see if you can pull up a property value record. So these websites are going to have a lot of information that's going to make it easier for you to do additional research on it.
Yeah. I think if you you can always go from this point and go and seek out more information, but for an initial level of discovery here with the lists, the information they provide is pretty sufficient. So yeah, that one's just another interesting property that that could potentially work out. Let's take a look at the under the homes.
And you're going to see homes just like this one here in the middle that's you know, overrun. That really is going to take a lot more work. And so properties like that, you know, most investors are going to avoid that unless you're a seasoned investor. You're really looking for, especially if you're looking for structured properties to begin with, you want to find a property that's going to take as little work as possible for you to be able to turn around and flip the property.
Yeah, here's an ideal one right here. This is actually a duplex, I guess you could say, or a condo. You know, it's basically a twin home. I mean, it's split in half, and the minimum bid on it's about $9,800. The assessed on it is about $69,500, and it also provides us with inside pictures of the property as well. And so keep in mind, you've got both sides there of the property, and it's really not too bad at all. I mean, it looks like it's in pretty much livable condition, and you know, would need a few things, but for the most part, it's okay.
No, I would imagine this property has probably a pretty good value when you're looking at it on the open market. So, you know, overall, I mean, if you were able to pick up this property and pick up both sides of it, I mean, that, you know, suddenly you could have a double rental.
Yeah, which would be huge, and you know, in fact, I wonder if it's worth looking. I guess we wouldn't necessarily probably be able to find this on Zillow. Usually, because duplexes like this, they don't always value each side of it. But this would be an awesome investment property, you know, for anybody.
You know, if they did it as a single-family home, it's possible. You know, if each side they valued as a single-family home.
Yeah.
But you can see from that front picture, I mean, look how it's really a pretty nice property.
Yeah. You know, it really is. You know, beyond that, they even have lakeside properties. You know, I don't see if there's any waterfronts here. We'll take a look here in some of these upcoming ones. In some of these, we have lakeside properties, like vacation properties, and we also have tons of land. So if we're looking at some of the land opportunities will start at a much lower dollar amount, and you know, work its way up from there. But there are basically everything in between when it comes to Michigan properties.
Yeah.
Let me take a quick look here. Another one here, Calhoun. And again, we can see depending on what we're looking for here. You know, if we're looking at homes, then we can start to go through the list here, and we can get an idea. And you know, what's nice too is we can see different things from the notes here. So, for instance, something like this house, right? I guess either one of these. This one's only this one has a $4,600 opening bid amount, and this one is actually on 10 acres of land, and it has a $14,000 opening bid amount. That's a lot of land. It's a pretty good chunk. It'll be a pretty nice little place. So let's take a look. So the estimated value on it right now, or assessed value on it's about $74,000, with a $14,000 opening bid amount here, and
You know, with being 10 acres, it may be something that, you know, we can look at Google Earth or something like that to get a better idea of the surrounding areas.
Mm-hmm. Now, they leave a link right here that'll take you directly to, basically pulls up Google Maps directly on the location there where the property is located. Let's see.
It'd probably be,
yeah.
is that probably the house up there in the front, I would imagine. Maybe. That's the house and that's the shed that we saw.
Yeah, it could be. Let's see. Yeah, I think that will be it. Okay, so yeah, that's it, and it probably does go back quite a ways. You know, it's a big chunk of land there. It owns all the property back here behind it, But you can see the images here are, I think, 2012 images. You can see that the property is still in good condition here. And the other ones are newer images, and they look like they're pretty good too.
Oh yeah, overall, I'm sure you're looking at a property that's worth, well over 100 grand.
Yeah.
You can see some even of the homes in the area have pools, which in this area of New York is probably, it's probably indicating that it's a pretty nice area.
Oh yeah, Michigan. And
I mean, yeah, Michigan.
now let's see here. So this is a great property. I think a lot of these really would be fantastic properties. In fact, let's take a look here. Let me show you another, just kind of a neat one here that I was looking at earlier that I really liked. This one right here. So the minimum bid on it is $18,500, and it's because it's essentially a vacation property on this lake. It's on and I don't know if you'd say that a Goguak Lake.
Yeah,
Goguak, maybe. Yeah. So the minimum bid on this property at $18,500 is really not too bad, considering that the assessed value on it is $115,000. So this property has the higher value because of where it's located. If you take a look in some of the images here, you can see that the property is in pretty good condition. You can see it's got this dock, in the backyard. And you see there's still stuff inside the home too. So it's one of those homes that's going to need a little bit of something here. It's going to need some cleanup and work, but overall though, it's still livable. It's crazy. It's like, there's still a grand piano in here. There is a lot of stuff. They've got couches, furniture. I mean, it's this place is still full of stuff. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. But this property would just be excellent. I think as an investment here, and the bid to value ratio, even as it is about 15% or under, to start off with here, which is not bad. Now, if we want to take a quick look and just see overhead image, let's see here where these are located. There we go.
It's actually a pretty big lake.
Yeah.
Or it's bigger than I thought it was, at least.
Let's take a look here and see. It does look, it's kind of big. That would be nice. That's just about right. That size of the lake. Yeah, that would be kind of a nice thing because it'd be big enough to water ski on. It's nice to live on, and they're in a good location here for it with this little inlet. This is basically the property right at the end of the inlet.
Yeah, great location. Probably has great value, great property, and really you're looking at probably an opening bid of around 10–15% of the market's value. So, even acquiring this property at 20 or 30 cents on the dollar, you're probably still looking at a pretty good investment.
Yeah. Now, interesting. In this overhead image, we can see that there are cars in the parking lot, which means that it could be occupied.
It looks like a boat too.
Yeah. There is. It does seem like in the images I remember seeing a boat in that parking lot. Let's see.
Looking at all this stuff within the home, that's something you've got to consider as well if you're going to be bidding on the property. There's even vehicles within it. So, within a scenario like this, it'd probably be a matter of contacting the owners, letting them know they have a period of time to clear all that stuff out. Otherwise, essentially, you'll take possession of it.
Yeah. Now, there are so many good properties here that we could look at, and it really is such a nice feature being able to narrow it down here with just that click. And we could look, and I think a lot of these would work out great as investments, and they have a pretty good low starting amount, that would work out pretty well. There's other properties that are rough and that wouldn't work out too well at all. Yeah, this is much the one that I looked at earlier. This property here is a minimum bid of $4,400. Assessed on it is $22,500, and let's see. I don't remember if they have inside pictures of this one. Oh yeah, we'll pull it up here on Zillow. So yeah, this property was occupied at the time. Looks like about 0.25 acres. And let's grab the address here, and let's pull it up. And what we're interested in seeing here is the difference between what the SEV is and what the SEV is versus the value on the property. I don't know why it does this sometimes. Here, let's take a look. Is that the right address? Pittman Avenue, Battle Creek. Oh, it didn't take me. There we go. Oh yeah, you see. So here's something interesting: is that the SEV is only 22,500, but the estimated Zillow price on it's 73,000, which tells us there's a big disparity there between those two. So the SEV value doesn't necessarily tell us very accurately, I think, what that property may or may not be worth.
No, from years in the past, a lot of times the SEV is about 50%, maybe 60% of what the market value is, or what's going to be closer to the market value. Mm-hmm. So when we're looking at a $100,000 home, that home could easily be worth 160, 180, maybe even 200,000.
Yeah. Yeah. So really, on a property like this, with that kind of value.
Yeah, you're looking at buying a single-family home for under $5,000 that has a value of $75,000.
Yeah, it's insane. There are so many places that we could keep looking here, but why don't we take a look at some stuff in maybe another state, so people can get a good broad idea of everything that's available right now. So let's go back here. Let's figure out here the next place we want to go. Well, why don't we take a look here? I was thinking whether we want to take a look at some of the California stuff, or whether we want to take a look at maybe we'll start there.
Florida?
Yeah, let's just start with Florida. Let's take a look at those here. So we'll go and take a look at Charlotte and Lien.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at Lien.
Okay. It would be August 15th here, so I'm just going to go down here to August 15th. And, okay. Let's take a look here. The auction calendar. And there to August, and you can see a good tax sale every week. These larger tax sales are nice too. And this is actually a pretty good number of deeds to be selling every week, where there's going to be some pretty good opportunities off that.
Yeah, and with these, there's good opportunities each week. So we could look at the 15th, and there'll be some. We could look at the 22nd, the 29th. Each one of these days is going to have some pretty good properties on that list.
Yeah, excellent. So let's take a look here. I think I'm going to take a look here, starting on the 15th.
And what we're doing is we're looking through these lists. We're just essentially scanning that opening bid amount versus the assessed value, and we're looking for properties that have a decent bid to value ratio versus the assessed value. And so as we come across, here's one with the $6,000, $67,000, $5,000, and we can go. If we go ahead and click on the link, it'll pull up the property record, which is going to give us some pretty good information on it, including a photo of the property, so we can see. Okay, this is a single-family home. We can have the address there. We can see that it's 3-bedroom, 1-bath, built in 1954, about 2,000 square feet. So we're going to get all that information just by one click. Just one click on the link, it pulls up that information, and we can do additional due diligence if we're interested in it.
Yeah, you can see the image here is from they've got one from 2000 and one from 2003. But if we wanted to look and see a little bit newer image here, we've already grabbed the address right there. Just make sure I've got it. And we can just take a quick look at it. And yeah, what draws us to that initially is that bid to value ratio looks like to be about 10%. And the property seems like it has quite a bit of value. So let's take a look here.
See, it looks like it might have some serious roof problems, so that's good to know. We can see that this photo is from 2017 as well. So, in looking at that, I mean, essentially we're looking at a property here that's going to need a new roof, and so taking that to account, then that's that's important information for us to know. That's the reason why it's so important to get, especially if you're buying, some type of structured properties, to get a current photo on the current photo of the property. If that's you doing it, if that's having to hire someone else to be able to do it, it's definitely something you want to do, because just bidding on that property without knowing that, a roof like that could be a $30,000, $40,000 problem.
Yeah, yeah. But if you plan for it, then it's not a problem at all. I think things like that are only an issue if they come unexpected and you don't see them beforehand. And this particular property is estimated to be worth on Zillow about $112,000, and that's against the $69,000 assessed value that it has. So the value is certainly there with this property to justify fixing it up. I mean, rent estimate on it's about $1,200 a month, and I would believe it. It seems like it's a pretty nice property. If with something like that roof, that's something where you really almost need to be there on site if you're going to try to make a judgment call on it. Unless you're just going to, plan on spending whatever it takes to fix the house up. But if you're more, if you need to be more cautious than that, then, doing roofs can be pretty expensive.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you could probably get a pretty good idea based on the square feet of how much it would cost. But then also, with the roof problem, you've got to look at the situation of mold or anything like that. But also, one thing is you're checking out the property, and let's say that the property isn't, doesn't have anyone there. Go knock on the neighbor's door and just say, "Hey, I'm a real estate investor." Ask a couple of questions. Sometimes the neighbors can give you some pretty good information on the property, which is only going to help educate you in deciding if you want to bid on it or not.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that does look pretty good here. Let's take a look and see. You want me to look at this one too?
There's quite a few of them. I can't quite remember exactly which ones were.
Yeah, let's just take a look. This one has opening bid of about $5,000.
This one looks like it's more of just kind of a smaller trailer of some sort. But there's quite a few different properties, so we can keep going down the list. You don't need to get stuck on too.
So here's one, $4,500 opening bid for $41,000 assessed value.
And really, as you go down this list, you can just kind of quickly click on each one of them and see what the properties are, and then from there decide which ones you want to do some more due diligence.
Yeah, so you can see that one's you've got another single-family home there. That's not too bad. There's another one.
Especially when we're talking about that $5,000 to $10,000 price range, where you're looking to start bidding. That $5,000 to $10,000, you're looking at it. We've looked at homes here now in Michigan. We've looked at homes in Florida where that $5,000 to $10,000 can really put you in a decent property.
And this particular property here is in Lehigh Acres, Florida. Which again, we're talking about some of the fastest-growing real estate places in the country. Lehigh Acres is a really nice area. We can see this one is a condo. Estimated value on it here.
It's 2-bedroom, 2-bath, about 1,000 square feet. So really, pretty comfortable.
Yeah. In fact, we could. I'm sure we could probably find it here. But at $41,000 for a condo, that's pretty good value there for the assessed value. And I'm sure we could get newer images here if we want.
That's the one thing that's nice about a condo as well, is that the outside structure, you don't need to be as worried about the outside structure. And usually if there's a serious problem with the inside structure, they're going to know about it. What I mean is, like, if you've got some type of leak, that's going to leak down onto the person below, and they're going to be aware of it. So when you're looking at purchasing condos, if the outside is fairly clean and everything up to date, then really the inside's just usually, I mean, you may need to put in new appliances and things like that, but you're not going to have some of the same type of issues that you may have when you're looking to purchase a single-family home, as far as actually doing the rehab on the property.
Yeah, I think that Steve's right in that they provide a certain degree of protection there because it's a little bit more of a community type housing, and you can see that this particular property is estimated to be worth about $59,000, which is pretty good, you know, for a condo there. And as an investment, you know, starting out, we're looking at it here, $4,400. It's a steal, you know, to start bidding on it, and it'd be worth paying probably. We'll have to see what these end up selling for, but that's a nice property and it's a nice starting bid amount.
Yeah. You know, as I was looking through some of these, I think it was maybe it might have been the week after this auction, you know, there was some nicer properties as well. So you're going to see a wide range. So you're going to see some of these that are starting at 5 and 10, but you're also going to find sometimes properties that are starting at 20, but they're worth $200 or $300 or $400.
Yeah. This one, $6,800 is the starting bid. This is also in Lehigh Acres, and $54,000 assessed value on it. And you can see here, it looks like another nice single-family home. I'm sure the value on it is probably closer to $80,000 or $90,000.
Yeah, definitely.
There. Oh, there are a lot of them here. You can just see all of these properties are pretty good. All these ones in Lehigh Acres would be pretty tempting.
Yeah, as we're just, I mean, you're just looking or reviewing down that, you can see those opening bid amounts versus the assessed value, and that's really what we're going to use to kind of judge which ones we're going to look at. And you can see that there's just quite a few different properties available.
Yeah, and so far, I mean, every single one of these that I've clicked on has been, you know, it's been pretty nice and would be a good one to start looking into. I mean, ultimately, you never know what properties are going to, you know, what they're going to sell for in terms of what you're going to be competing with. But one of the advantages of doing sales like this, where they're happening every week there for 4 or 5 weeks, and each sale is fairly large, is that there's going to be more opportunities, and people are going to be bidding on lots of different property, and there's a better chance that there are going to be some deals that, you know, you might be able to snag. So I think it's a good idea to go through these and to find a number of properties you're interested in bidding on.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that we've realized as well in dealing with the online auctions in Florida. I mean, really, we'd probably bid on 3 or 4 properties, maybe even more, at least 4 properties before we won one. So, you know, there was times where we went through entire auctions without winning any properties, but that was really because we were looking for a property at our price, our location, you know, around our parameters. And so because of that, we were allowing, you know, to get carried up in bidding wars or paying more than we wanted to. That way, when we did pick up the properties, we picked them up for the price that we wanted, and we were able to make the profit on them that we wanted as well. You know, even a property like this, you know, where you're looking at some vacant land, it looks like it's about 4 acres or so. You know, if the value's there, this could very well be a decent investment as well, because you're looking at a $3,000 investment versus a piece of land that's still going to have high value.
Yeah. You know, it's also just nice to sometimes go back and to check historical records, see what property sold for in the past. Looks like it sold last as a quick claim deed for $25,000.
Yeah, it's possible it could have been sold as a tax deed.
Yeah, you know, this particular property is interesting. I clicked on it because the opening bid of $3,600 is so low compared to the assessed value of $80,000. You know, you're talking about a bid to value ratio is like 5% there, and so you know, that's always pretty tempting. Just because you don't see that happen very often. But with larger tracts of land, it's possible. This looks like a little bit more than an acre. They're selling here 1.25 acres.
Let's try looking at the week ahead of here.
So let's see here. We're going to take a look here at the 22nd, which has got it looks like 29 out of 33 of them.
I think it was either the 22nd or the 29th that had some bigger homes on it as well.
You know, and a lot of these all look pretty nice too. You know, these are again starting around the $4,000 to $5,000 range, and working their way up. And more of these here in Lehigh Acres.
Yeah, I mean, really, looking at these bid to value ratios, we're really looking at about 10%.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. You know, but for most of them, unless it's a homestead property, you're looking at a pretty good bid to value ratio.
Yeah, in fact, what's nice too, I guess, is the majority of these that we're looking at are pretty nice. You know, there's a number of these. A lot of these would be worth bidding on most likely, and that's good just because it means you're going to have a higher percentage of properties going through this sale. They're going to be nice.
It's also it looks like it's a little bit newer image from July of 2016.
Yeah.
We see that the property, you know, was fenced in, but looks almost like a tree house.
Yeah.
Up in the air a bit.
Yeah, I guess we can kind of see here. It looks like it.
You can
Take a look at it real quick if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Just take a look and see what it looks like here overhead. You know, again, this is the kind of stuff that used to take so much time and it's so fast now. There's just no reason not to do it. And we can actually get a street side image here of this. You know, that's where the road ends. That's kind of interesting. So, yeah, they must own. Where if they own this whole piece? Oh, actually, no. Oh, actually,
they have that front driveway.
That's right. They've got two different places to get out. That's what they've got. And we can take a look here.
Oh, this is an old street side.
It is an old street side image. It's a 2008 image. You know, we can kind of see how the property's laid out, and it's a nice property. I'm sure it's still pretty nice.
Especially when you're looking at a couple of $1,000s.
Yeah, yeah, for that kind of amount. Take a look at one more here, and then we'll take a look at some other properties too. Yeah, this one's another nice one here.
And not a bad little single-family home, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, built 1983. 1983 is nice as well because, you know, that's going to be after lead-based paint, so you're not going to have to worry about some of those different things, you know, old pipes, old wires, things like that. It's going to be a newer home. So even the remodel, sometimes are going to be a lot less costly with the newer home like that.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I think asbestos is usually an issue on stuff that's older than about 82 as well. You don't typically find a lot of newer stuff as well, so you don't have to worry about asbestos removal on newer homes too. Wow, well, there are just a ton of really good opportunities here. Well, let's take a look at some other areas here. You know, let's take a look at. Let's take a look at the New York stuff real quick. Do you want to do that?
Sure.
All right, let me close down a couple of these. All right, so now we're going to go back here to the list center, down to the online auction section. And if we click on online tax deeds here, it'll bring up the list that we're going to be working off of. And there are a lot of direct links here that will take you to some of these sites. So in fact, we'll end up looking here. There are a bunch of sales taking place right now in California for a lot of property. In fact, we can probably even show everybody here. So,
and this here's
24th, 25th, 26th.
Yeah, this here's San Diego, and this is going to be coming up next week. On the 24th, they have essentially is what they're selling is their single-family homes or the structured properties. The 25th, they're selling the land, and then it looks like on the 26th, they're selling a lot of what are they called?
Timeshares.
Yeah, timeshares.
Timeshares, yeah. Yeah, and so we can see here, you know, they've got the opening bid amounts. What's nice about this, the drop down, is it enables us to kind of see although it looked like a lot of these, they had the opening bid amount, a lot higher, closer to like 50% of estimated value or something along those lines.
Also with the San Bernardino, that one's a little bit interesting because it's actually a resale. In fact, me and Shade participated in the original sale just a couple of months ago,
yeah.
a month or two ago, and the properties that didn't sell, because and some of these properties are ones that we've already looked at. That was kind of what's funny is going through, but they were higher than we were willing to pay. But now they're starting at a $100 opening bid, and there's literally hundreds of these properties available, starting with a $100 opening bid. And so these are some that are seriously worth looking into, especially when you're looking at these lower bid amounts of acquiring property.
Yeah, with the $100 opening bid amount, what you're really looking at is the county pretty much coming out and saying, okay, forget about whatever's owed on the property. We just want somebody to buy it. And so, if there were properties that were too high, you keep in mind that if they're too high for you, then other investors are probably going to feel the same way. And a lot of those properties you may get another shot at a subsequent sale like this one, where it's a resale, and they're just ready to kind of unload everything. So this property, this list has a mix of properties here within this. But we can see, we get an idea here. I think one of these links, this is a direct link. Yeah, and what we see, this is actually a vacant lot, in
San Bernardino.
Yeah, it's right here.
So really, we're looking at it, and it really looks like it's commercial. You can see Subway right there and some type of church.
Mm-hmm.
So really, we're looking at a nice commercial lot right here, starting at a $100 opening bid. And so, that's something that makes investors' ears perk up a little bit and are interested, especially when acquiring property like that for a lower amount. Now, it could very well get bid up, but there's a lot of property here, and that's one of the advantages of having such a big list. Is that there's so many different properties, you're going to have a chance of picking up one of these properties for a lower dollar amount.
Yeah, this is that lot that we're looking at right here, and yeah, I mean that's good commercial
prime
space.
Location. Really
starting for $100, that is pretty crazy.
And you're really in a clean part of town, too.
Yeah, that is insane. Now, not all of them are quite so valuable, but in the beginning here, the way they've got these listed. So let's take a look. Yeah, they do so many things now that save us so much time. There we go. That's where it's at.
It's this lot right here.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, this is actually a property that I recognize because we looked at before. It's kind of that building lot right there, going along the side.
Right here. There we go. Yep, you can kind of see it here.
Yeah.
And again, for starting out at $100, that's not bad at all.
No, I mean you're looking at property $40,000, $50,000, something like that. Any real piece of real estate that you can acquire for $100 that has value in use is the no-brainer in our book.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, by the way, if anybody's wondering on how to get to any of these, just remember if you go to the list center, you go to the online auctions page for online auctions and tax deeds, you'll see this list here of some of these tax deed states that are holding online auctions and direct links to take you to those places. So right now we're just looking under California tax deed auctions here for Grand Street Group with San Diego, this being the 3 different days on their sales, and for San Bernardino, the 5 different sales. And those sales actually start on the 24th of July. San Bernardino ones were starting on the 7th of August.
you know, in addition to that, Los Angeles has one on bid for assets as well, just kind of an FYI that's coming up that has quite a few properties in it, doesn't it, Shade?
Yeah, yeah.
Quite a big list.
Yeah, it does. It was a pretty big list. It seems like it had around 500 properties, which would be a good opportunity there. It covers Los Angeles County and some of the surrounding areas there. The property that I was looking at.
And as we were looking through the Florida auctions just a little bit, you can see all of the Florida tax deed sales that are listed here as well. So, you know, most of the auctions are going to be held by Real Auction, but there's also a Grant Street group that holds a few of them. So all you need to do is really go to this page, and you can be connected to all of the online auctions or all of the tax deed auctions that are taking place.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, let's see here. Oh, yeah, New York. I forgot we were going to go and take a look at New York here. Let me back up here a bit. Oh, I just go down. There we go. And Oswego. All right, so we're just, this is for I guess it's Otsego County. And the date on that tax bill is the 16th of August, right?
Yeah, and this is just, you know, there's going to be different types of properties. We just want to show you as many different examples as we can. And this is New York auctions that's coming up. And you can see some of the information. They have current photos, kind of like Michigan does as well, and with different information. So as we're going down this list, we can see some of the different properties. Now let's go ahead and click on this item number 5 here, which was just kind of a little bit interesting. I was looking at it today, and it looks like it's some type of commercial greenhouse. But you can see that there's different photos, there's different information. And essentially, the bidding starts at the delinquent taxes, and then it's going to bid up at $100 after that. But there's all kinds of different property that are available in some of these different areas, and so you can see some of the information, that the item details that are written about the property. And if it's something you're interested in with this kind of property, they're actually going to be holding a seminar, but you can do mail-in bids. And that's something that's becoming more and more common. You can do mail-in bids in Arkansas. You can do mail-in bids in a lot of different areas where even if they're going to be having an online live auction, you can still send in bids after the fact or before the auction to be included within the sale.
Wow, is that the value on it? $235?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really impressive. Yeah, $235,000 value is pretty good.
You know, we can see that there's all kinds of different properties.
33, let's take a look at.
We see there's commercial, there's land, you know, there's all kinds of different ones. There's another little single-family home that we can pull up. You can see it's just a single-family home. You can see any of the pictures that are on it. And some of these properties in this area are going to be a little bit older, and so really we're going to be looking at the condition of the outside, any of the notes and information they have. But you know, a lot of these properties are going to be valued anywhere between $100,000 to $200,000 as far as Zillow.
Yeah, they do certainly have a lot of them, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, let's take a look right here.
And like the ones in Michigan, you can see that this one wasn't occupied; it was vacant, and so they were actually able to go and take photos of the inside as well. And you know, photos of the inside are obviously going to be helpful because that tells us a lot about the inside condition. You can see it's been vacant for a while, but overall, you're really looking at not a bad house. You know, the paint looks good. Everything looks pretty good. The tile, even the kitchen and the bathrooms. And so really, you know, I'm not quite sure.
It's even dug out for a pool, I think.
Yeah, that's what it kind of looked like.
Yeah, maybe they maybe they have part of it dug out for a pool. It just needs to be my guess anyway.
Yeah, looks like they can finish it.
Yeah. This looks like about 4.6 acres. Let's sit on a good chunk of land.
Yeah, so I mean, these are going to be more in rural area within New York, but still, when we're looking at investments, what we're looking for is value, and use, and there's definitely going to be examples of those type of properties within some of these upcoming New York auctions.
Yeah. Let's take a look here. Oh yeah, so these are the ones. Do you want to take a look at these ones? I guess we're pretty much kind of running out of time here. And whenever we go over live training like this, where we're just kind of following along here on different pages, for some reason the recording size is humongous. But yeah, the sales. So we've looked at New York, we've looked at Michigan, we've looked at some stuff in California and some stuff in Florida, and also, in addition to that, there are online tax liens that are also now available over the counter. Tons of over-the-counter tax liens. So if any of you are looking for tax liens to invest in, there are a lot of those available now, and it's very easy with the systems that are in place to buy those types of liens now that they're available. So those work out, and good upcoming opportunities. Well, you saw the calendar. There's tax sales taking place all over the place. And so I think it's a matter of just figuring out where you want to begin, to participate in and start bidding. But because the counties are doing things like this, it's making it easier for us. As long as we can find a starting point with them using the county websites themselves, it can really, it's fairly simple for us now, and provides us with a lot of information without a lot of work. So anything that's going to save you time and not require, anything that's going to make it easier when it comes to this is really beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, hopefully we showed you that there's a lot of opportunity out there. And so really it's just a matter of going out there and doing some of your own due diligence, your own research. When it comes to tax sale investing, this isn't a lazy investment. You've got to pull up your sleeves a bit. You've got to get to work, and what makes it nice is it's not an easy investment, but it's also one of the most profitable investments that we've ever seen, that I've ever been a part of. And so when it comes to tax sale investing, if you're willing to go out there and do a little bit of work, you're going to be able to take advantage of these properties. You're going to be able to change your lifestyle, change your income, build your retirement. Really, I think through tax sale investing, we can accomplish all of our financial goals and retirement goals through just this investment strategy. You wouldn't even have to worry about investing anything else other than investing tax liens and deeds, and I think you can really build a pretty nice future for yourself.
Yeah, in fact, there's no doubt about it that some of the property that we looked at today will end up selling for a fraction of what it's worth. It'll end up selling for as little as 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever that is. It's going to sell for an amount that is nothing close to what it's worth. And if you were to compare that amount to any other form of real estate investing, you never hear those types of numbers. You're never going to hear about buying stuff for 20% of value or anywhere in that neighborhood with any other type of real estate investing, because other parties just don't have that kind of give when it comes to selling it. The only reason why it's even possible with this system is because of the fact that they're involved with tax sales. So, there are a lot of advantages there for us, and there's going to be a lot of good opportunities there. You just have to be ready to pull the trigger and start buying. So, well, excellent. We'll get this thing, the recording for this, available and out to everybody. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to send those in to us. Emails can be the fastest way to get a hold of us if you need anything, or if you have any additional questions, and we'll do our best to get back to you.
Yep, have a good week.
All right, we'll see everybody later.